Welcome to Week in Horror.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
The only podcast that will feed your horror need.
The need to feed.
With JL.
Yeah, I'm a fucking masochist. I'll watch that shit.
Eugene.
Somebody has to be the sex symbol, I'm sorry.
Alex.
Shit, I just demonetized this forever.
And Johnny O.
How do you like that shit? Got halfway through the monologue before unmuting myself. Golly, it's one of them fucking days.
With industry guests.
Hi, this is Richard Oakes, Director of Host.
Hey, this is Adam Leader, Director of Host.
This is Matthew Mark Hunter.
I'm Donna Nelly.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
And this is Week in Horror.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
Welcome to prime time, bitch!
News, trivia, and more.
One by one, we will take you.
Join our live show Wednesdays at 7 Central, youtube.com/weekinhorror, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Week in Horror. Stay scared.
Well. Welcome back, horror fans. It's Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, and that means it's time for another episode of the Week in Horror podcast. The only podcast that ain't leading but two things right now, Jack and shit. Jack just left town. And don't forget, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast host, you can join us here for our live show on YouTube so you too can laugh and scream with us, flex your horror knowledge, and maybe even win some trivia prizes. This week, we're covering select films released in horror history, November 21st through November 27th. Jesus fucking Christ, are you kidding me? What the fuck are we doing here? Son of a bitch.
Where is the year going?
Well, they locked us away 2 years ago, and all of a sudden, the fucking time just went. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm Johnny O, and with me tonight are JL and Eugene.
Good evening, all of you amazing horror fans.
No, if you're going to say it, you got to say it right. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. What's up, everybody?
Oh, gee.
Oh, buddy. Yeah, yes, that is the question. Where the hell is the year going? Because like next episode is the last one of November, and we're in the end of 2021, man.
Yeah, my daughter, we were at the grocery store earlier. My daughter was like, hey, when's Christmas? I was like, oh, it's
it's months away.
It's like, son of a bitch.
I realized this is what happens. This is what happened to me, and it was about it took about almost a year of doing the show, and then my head got into that space where you're doing this because we do the show and then we drop it a week early. So every episode we're doing is essentially the one for the following week. Right. So I'm constantly a week ahead, and it feels like every time I have to write a new script, the months just vanish. And then when you have this routine where you go through like every week, we have the Wednesday show, then we go through every single I write the script, and then we do the breakdown, and the weeks just vanish.
Yeah, just gone.
Yeah, just gone.
But of course, we're doing Leo, and then of course we all have like our personal stuff going on. Johnny's got his channel, I've got mine. Alex has got kids that are growing up. Eugene's just out there Spielberging it up and just wild. As a matter of fact, I recently went back down to Dallas for the 48-hour film festival, and we got to see one that I wrote that Eugene directed up on the big screen, which was really, really cool. And I have to admit, in my humble opinion, Eugene, what you and the casting crew did out there with that script, you brought it to life. No technical, by comparison, no technical issues. You may have been unhappy with some of the lighting or some of the whatever, but that's just your perfectionism. By comparison, that other shit was like film school amateur, whatever.
You actually heard the director giving direction on one of the films.
Yeah, like in the audio. Like the director's off camera, like giving instructions to the little girl who was in the role. Okay, now drop down to your knees and like this, and just like, did you not hear that?
Did you not watch your film before turning it in?
Did you record your sound in your film separately? That's kind of vital when you're doing something like that. Even in porn, they know to do that.
They don't bother. Like nobody's watching this shit for the sound. Well, maybe
Well, it's really bad when you suddenly realize that the sound you're hearing is not what's going on on the film. It's kind of like, those noises don't match up whatsoever. It's because they had to drop all the audio and put audio in to make up for all the stage direction the director's giving them.
Just complete blank spots. Yeah.
Right.
Little to the left.
And then
my left.
And then just a lot of the tech. There was a lot of tech. I mean, I'm gonna say, like Eugene said at the very end when we were all, everyone's, giving the congratulations. Getting something in the can is the key. I mean, that's the big thing. That's the
I said it'd be done in 10 days. Stop fucking pressuring me, JL.
Getting it in the can is the giant hurdle. It's the hardest thing to do. If you get it in the can, you should be proud. But when you compare it up and you line things up for the festival and everything, there's all kinds. So yeah, you'd have like films up there where the audio would just like drop, no audio, and then all of a sudden when the audio kicks in, when the actor's like speaking, when the audio kicks in, it's just and like in the background, like the ambient noise, like the white noise in the back, just and then they say their line and then it's just dead silent. It's like I'm not sure. And then from a writer's perspective, 3-act structure is pretty basic. I mean, that's how we tell a story. And I'm like, where are the acts in this thing?
Beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah, there was
basic shit.
So people drew different genres. This was for the 48-hour film competition where you have to write, shoot, and edit a film in 48 hours. And so, unfortunately, we drew romance, but we made it work. And the group that actually drew horror, I don't know what the fuck their film was about.
I don't know what that was. It was really weird. It was like stream of consciousness, like trying to be surreal. I couldn't follow it. So
yeah, a 5, because you have a limit between 4 to 7 minutes. A 7-minute film isn't the time to have an entire existential breakdown on the human psyche and like and the creation of man.
You can't do that in 7 minutes.
Do you remember, Johnny, when we were at Texas Frightmare Weekend and we saw Nail Gun premiere, Nail Gun have its little TFW showing, that very first horror film that we watched
was so fucking bad.
It was in like the park and they were on the bench and everything, and the audio was all jacked, and it was like all these weird things, like he's seeing stuff, she's not.
Right?
So I had no idea.
Yeah, I hate being so critical. Yes, I realize who's about to say this. Okay, so fuck off. I hate being so critical of amateur or indie film stuff, but this was bad. It's like that. The director,
it was not good.
The director went and said, "Hey, here I have these really cool ideas," and you can see that he had some really cool ideas, but none of it fucking made sense. It didn't go together. It's like, okay, here's an idea. Let me just fucking ramrod that shit in there. All right, cool. Here's another idea. Let's ramrod that motherfucker in there. Well, you already got 2 in the pink right now, dude. There's got no room.
But then they try to ramrod something else, and it goes right in the stink, and then you know where you're going to get with that. So
Exactly. Fucking Hershey Highway.
Yeah.
But what Eugene and the rest of the cast and crew, what you guys pulled off out there, just knocking that out of the park. I can't wait to see the director's cut of it that has all the stuff, because it obviously had to be edited down to 7 minutes. The script I turned in was a little over 7 minutes, because sometimes in the script I can get a little wordy with like the direction, with like what I want the actors to do, or what I want to be conveyed. But I can't wait to see the uncut version of it. And the award ceremony is this Saturday, correct?
Yes, it's this Saturday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
6 p.m. and it'll be a virtual event, so everybody that was involved in it can go and can watch it and see, if we actually win anything, for the project we turned in. But y'all deserve it. You guys did an amazing job. I can't wait. We'll definitely update the audience as to the results of that. And, if Eugene can, take home another big win for the work that he does. But that's just it. We're able to do this kind of stuff because of our amazing audience. And before we jump into what I wanted to chat about, before we jump into our movies, I want to see who's in the live chat. Who is joining us tonight? I see Travis Brown is in the house. Good to see you, Travis Brown. Hello to you, Keith Newton. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Sarcasm's in the house. We have a bunch of our amazing patrons. And there's our patrons in the banner down below. You can see them scrolling across the bottom of the screen. All those amazing people that help us continue doing the show every single week and losing time as the years fly by. We're into the third year. How fast has this gone by, guys?
Look, it's gone. Hey, there are moments it flies by. There's moments a month goes.
We've already talked about how fucking fast time is going. Okay, I don't need a. I don't need more goddamn.
Oh, but yes, thank you to our amazing patrons who enable us to do this. We appreciate that. You are the horror enablers. Sarcasm, so good to see you. I said horror, not horror.
I know you said that. Just making sure. It was not for you. That was for everybody else. It was the other. Hey, I'm not a horror.
Oh, and Aaron Reese, so good to see you. Oh, Travis Brown says drinking Jack Daniels, eating some horror shit. That sounds about right. That's like a Thursday for me. Yes. Aaron Reese, so good to see you. Ryan and Nance, good to see you. Thank you all so much for joining. Charlie Welch is in the house, the only man you don't make a bet with on the internet. I do appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, Charlie. Jin Ju says, hello, everyone. Stupid YouTube non-notifications made me late. Boo, YouTube. Yeah. They kill us sometimes. Jin Ju, I sent you a message via Discord. Unfortunately, your item that you won got returned as undeliverable. So maybe I need an update on your address. Update me on that because I want to make sure you get that. Teespring, let me know about that. It's like, hey, we couldn't deliver this. So I was a little worried about that. But let me know. Make sure I got your address updated. Who else we got in the house? I see John Rapp is in the house. Says a $5 super chat taking you off script. Scratch butt and wiggle ears same time.
I do that all the time just because.
I wish
me wiggling my ears because my headphones are on. But
right, because the headphones.
Like this. Yeah. And then, I move a lot like this. What do you think I'm doing?
I wish we could accept. One day we will be able to accept super chats on this show. One day, we did it accidentally when I did the setup and I set it up on my personal channel, and I was like, "Whoa, we're getting super chats!" But yeah, that wasn't free, so I had to redirect that over to the Week in Horror side so that we could utilize that, so I could track that. But one day, once we get that, we got the community post going because they lowered it to 500. But once we hit that 1,000 subscribers. We have like so many videos out, so many live streams that I think we've surpassed the 4,000 hours. Once we hit 1,000 subs,
within the calendar year, though, that's the thing. It's got to be.
Well, this is true,
year.
Yeah. So hopefully, hopefully we'll get that. But the whole big point is we do have a Patreon and we do have PayPal. Those links are in the description, and of course, all manner of other ways that you can help support the channel. So yeah, it's definitely we got all that. But you just being here is everything. We appreciate it, John Rapp.
Yes,
that's for you. Because John Rapp understands that. That's an inside joke. Eugene may not be aware of that. It's a long story.
Middle finger, Eugene.
But that's the John Rapp welcome. That's the John Rapp welcome.
You're technically gonna tell me twice, motherfucker.
I was like, sure. All right. Nerd Journal's in the house. Is JM Truth Style? No, JM Truth Style.
It was JM Truth Style though.
Yeah. Aaron Reese says, "Can you watch Nail Gun online yet?" Eugene, do we have a point when that will be available, or can we can still show it via Discord? But
yes,
what about
so just because it's going out to film festivals and everything, it can't be publicly posted on YouTube, but we do have screenings of it on Discord, so we may have to show Nail Gun again very soon.
We definitely will. But eventually, we could put that up on the Week in Horror channel, and people will be able to watch it wherever as soon as it gets through the festival circuit. Fantastic news. All right. Chris Durham, Music Channel's in the house. Good to see you, Chris Durham is cooking the rice. Dinner's going to be late. Did I see anybody else? Who do I see? I think that's it. I think we got everybody so far. Nerd Journal says, Travis Brown, awesome dude. Keep at it. Don't let them work you too hard, and make sure you pay attention to every other class. I think Travis Brown said next week Thanksgiving, poultry guys. Hell fucking yeah. Hell yes.
First
poultry guys and Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Fucking poultry guys.
Because nothing like a turkey running around, killing topless co-eds. That shit is fucking hilarious.
Yeah. The opening scene in Thanksgiving, where he's just chasing the girl through the woods.
It's fucking brilliant. I love it. Oh, I love those guys.
Opening scenes are brilliant. You got the one where the dude, the fucking pervert's watching the two about to have sex, and then they run off, and then the thing
It's so brilliant. It's so brilliant. All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you to all of our patrons for joining us. So we do appreciate it. Before we dive into our films, I wanted to check with you guys because this is the week. So a lot of people may have heard that there's some. Okay, so Black Friday is coming up. Day after Thanksgiving, busy shopping day of the year. But you know what I've noticed, and of course we may try to get things, whether you do it online or go there in person. I wanted to ask y'all, even though there's the kind of air that people don't want Black Friday to happen because they don't like the ritual, they don't like what they're forced to do, crammed all in one place in one day, and it just turns into, all these stories, turns into a meat grinder. It's craziness. So maybe you're not going to go out for Black Friday. Maybe you'll get something earlier, get something later. But is there anything horror related, or maybe for the production related that you may want to try and get on Black Friday? Anything on your wish list? I want to check with you guys.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff on my wish list. Eugene knows what my wish list is.
Yep.
Well, I don't think you can get sex appeal at Best Buy.
Want to bet?
Say that.
I mean, I don't know about you, but 85-inch television sure turns me on. No, production gear, there's always something, right? It's always going to be some grips or some lights or some this or some that, it's all kinds of shit that I'm keeping an eye out on some stuff. I doubt the things that I'm looking at I'm going to be able to pick up. I need to get a few things for an upcoming production on the Plot Hole. We have more live Christmas music. Eugene's going to be there. So
I will be there.
Yeah, some stuff.
Very cool. Anything for you, Eugene?
And honestly, it's the same. I mean, I don't know if people notice in the background, like it just little bits of stuff gets added. So I got like 2 C stands that they just hang out there, and there's like cases and stuff over here, and it goes further and further back around.
I've always noticed it. It's obviously you're shooting from your hut in Sparta, so because there's just not a lot of stuff around. But I'm assuming you adding things to that to kind of fill it out.
Well, so what I'm looking at is probably early next year. I'll probably move for the last time, at least last time for a while. So I'll actually be able to decorate stuff.
Nice.
Instead of just like there's like a hamper, a guitar, and some C-stands. And then some Halloween candy.
And then one day you can have
set up your C-stand and put like the clips on it for a poster or something.
Yeah. And then one day you can have something like this. Yeah.
Yes, with addresses.
I'm gonna punch you in the face. When Jason gets here, they are moving. They're finally moving. So everything. So I have 2 closets here. I have one that you can't see and one that you can. I'm moving some stuff out of this. Moving the boxes out of this one.
It's funny that the one that we can see just happens to be the one with addresses in it.
It's because the other one has all the damn moving boxes in it. So I'm going to break those down, get rid of them, take these over here, put them over here, and then Jason will get that space right there. And it's awesome because I finally got the tracking numbers on it. They finally, Movie Land FX.
Every day he's at his because he lives out in the middle of fucking nowhere. He sits on his porch, right? He's got his phone looking at his tracking numbers like this. Where is he?
But I got the tracking numbers from UPS Ground. Jason is on his way. When he arrives, I will set him up. I'll probably do like a little short video so I can throw it up on the Week in Horror channel so y'all can see Jason when I unveil him. And I got the cool light set up, which is going to be really, really neat. Makes him look like he's underwater. It's going to be absolutely sick. So I can't wait for that. That's like my big Christmas, present to myself. It's kind of like I wanted this. I've wanted something like this for forever. I was finally able to afford it. Bam, we're going to throw it up there, and it's going to look awesome.
JL's going to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning, the delivery day, looking like checking, right?
Just at the window.
Well, we got to see. Some people always try to make sure Eugene does not fall into the hole from 300. Yeah, exactly. Spartan.
The
joke there, yeah.
Never-ending hole. Yeah. Wait. Is that because Eugene is black?
Oh. Mr. Malort.
I'm the one that does the kicking.
Mr. Malort. Good to see you, Mr. Blord. He says, sorry, some Mick was having a stream over here. That's true.
Wow.
Fred did the channel.
Not being racist, and we go on and just fucking go for that train.
Fred did the channel Irish Demon is streaming at the same time, so we understand. But he's a really popular guy, and we don't begrudge him that, although he never usually goes live on Wednesdays. But nonetheless, I'm just saying. Aaron Reese says, Week in Horror. Poultry Guys, Thanksgiving and Bone Tomahawk in honor of our indigenous brethren.
I don't know if they would. I don't know. I would have to talk to. I would have to talk to the Apache Nation on my left side of my family to see if they're cool with that. Be like, hey, can we get
That's like that King of the Hill joke. Hey, Chief, y'all used to celebrate Thanksgiving, right? We did once. I love that King of the Hill joke. Y'all celebrated Thanksgiving, right? We did once. Oh, let me see. Oh, Beaver Season House says, poop, I'm late. No, it's all good. We're just chewing it up before we jump into the movies. Nerd Journal says, I don't know about horror related, but Walmart has a 40-inch 1080p TV for $130 if you are a Walmart Plus member, I think. And Newegg has a nice 27-inch 1440p monitor I was interested in for like $40 off. Nice. Yes, brought to you in this episode, brought to you by Walmart Plus and Newegg.
that Newegg money?
That Newegg money. Beaver C says, "Thanks, Johnny. I know I'm picturing Jail's house looking like the house from Deliverance."
You're welcome.
Sir Cat says $130 for a 40-inch TV and just about the same price for a 16-ounce T-bone.
Yeah, that's right. Although I was able to find some steak that was on sale. It was a little green, but we just cut those parts out.
It's good enough.
Gross. All right. So yeah, me myself, there are some things I know that I think it was Travis Brown said that he will be.
JL, I know you're trying to avoid having to talk about this first movie.
I'm going to talk about it. I promise.
We got to do it because you put script for some reason.
I saw Travis Brown saying that he's going to be buying Scream Factory Blu-rays, taking the opportunity to flesh out his collection. Because Scream Factory does a lot of fantastic Blu-ray releases because they make an effort to go and find all of the deleted scenes and as much behind-the-scenes stuff to pack into a Blu-ray, and they do some fantastic releases for their stuff. And so I really love the work they do over at Scream Factory. So definitely, I'd say that's a great opportunity. I myself am looking. There's a bunch of old collections that I really want to get my hands on. I want to find like the box set of Warehouse 13, the box set of Forever Night, a number of the old horror TV shows that I grew up with that I'd like to find the box sets for, because now I have the opportunity to get them. That's one thing. So most likely be DVDs or Blu-rays is what I'm going after myself. And I think I'm going to try and find a new monitor because I would like to upgrade my monitor setup. I need 2 monitors. I'm at that point where I must have 2, and I currently don't. I have 1. So I have all these tabs open like High IQ Research.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much it. But
having all the tabs open, it'll just be on 2 different monitors. I've got 2 monitors here.
Well, I'd love to be able to
monitors back there. Same shit. It's just you have.
I want a monitor for each tab, and it's just.
I'll have like that, I need the swordfish setup. Like 9 screens, gonna be and then I'm gonna drink wine and play music while I slap at the keyboard like I'm doing something important.
Fuck. I was, okay. So there are 2 things that irritate the shit out of me in film. And one of them is when you just know that the person you get a music movie like in La Bamba, right? When what's his name? Fucking Richard Valenzuela, who played Lou Diamond Phillips.
Lou Diamond Phillips, yeah.
When he's playing La Bamba on stage for the first time, and you could tell like nothing he's doing matches anything that even like it's not even like the song is playing the same things over and over again, but his hands just like I'm jerking off an elephant. You've got, and then people, fucking, you could tell like any Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he has to work at a computer and his fucking giant banana hands. You hear all this, but you got 2 fingers doing those shit. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Tick, 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 tick.
I want accurate typing.
Sarcasm says, does 2 monitors split the high IQ? It might. I mean,
like a 50, 40, 70, 30 split though, so not everybody gets, it's not equal. It's not an equal distribution of high IQ.
Oh, so yeah, looking forward to some good stuff. Going to try to find some good deals. I'm definitely not going out during Black Friday. I'm going to pretty much do it all online.
I have to. Let me tell you something. Fuck all this bullshit. None of you have to go out. I do.
No.
I have to work. My ass has to drive.
Oh,
normally,
you still work in retail, so
no, it fucking sucks. Everybody go subscribe to the plot. Will give me 100,000 subscribers. So I don't have to work fucking retail anymore.
Yes, do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it just because you want to support the channel. Do it because you're saving a man from working in retail.
See?
Because it is soul sucking.
Yeah.
It literally, it's like every day it inches your soul further out of your ass.
It's gotten better, right? I used to work at Toys R Us. Oh, fuck my life. You want to talk about... I remember one fucking Black Friday. Swear to God, Black Friday, Toys R Us parking lot. There's a giant fucking sinkhole in our parking lot, right? But we're cones, flags, all kinds of shit that says "do not, whatever, stay out, blah blah, whatever."
A cat's out there with cats out there.
You might as well
legs.
have had fucking yeah, right. This fucking asshole comes in our store. Is like, "Hey, I need you to call a tow truck." I'm like, "Oh, I'm thinking maybe his like battery went out." I was like, "Cool, well, whatever. What's going on?" I drove into the pothole that I didn't see, and I go out there, and he's fucking driving one of those Volkswagen Beetles, the newer ones, and that shit has damn near disappeared in this fucking sinkhole. And he's all, "This is your fault." I said, "How the fuck this is our fault? Do you see all these goddamn flags and cones and signs and shit that says "do not drive over here"? Fucking jackass."
That's hilarious.
I want you to know I'm picturing like a 10-foot sinkhole. Like he drives and it just disappears.
See, Beaver C says, "I couldn't imagine working retail on Black Friday. I could tell you a horror story about that. I worked in retail for a long time.
Yep.
I worked 10 years for GameStop /EB Games. I was with them for forever through the transition when GameStop swallowed up EB. And I worked but the worst, and those were always rough, but they have normal hours because, the little strip deals. But the worst Black Friday was where I worked for CompUSA.
Ooh.
I was at work 27 hours straight.
Yeah.
Nope.
And that was a next level nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, I never, and I vowed after that, I was like, after that, I was done. I was like, I can't do this anymore. That still haunts me. That was in 2000. That was like 2008. And I still wake up with the sweat sometimes, around Black Friday. No. Sometimes
you can't have the keyboard. Oh.
Sometimes Thanksgiving Eve, my wife will look over across the table and catch me with a 1,000-yard stare.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
They touch me on the shoulder, and I'm like, God!
There's
Do you have your receipt?
everywhere.
Yep.
Tickets only.
I got so many fucking horror stories from Toys R Us times. One of my most favorite ones. This is the last one before I get into the movies. I know people are waiting, but most favorite time I was running stuff from the back end, right? So all like the big ticket items, the Power Wheels and the swing sets and shit. And we had some weird deal on swing sets. It was stupid cheap for a wooden swing set. And this motherfucker buys it. And there have been so many times where people would buy a swing set but not have a fucking truck to carry it. They would have their car, their sedan, or whatever. Think, I can do it. Like, what? It's a fucking swing set. What's the matter with you? It's 8-foot fucking box. It doesn't fold in half, you dumb shit. But, so I would call up and always ask, "Hey, make sure you tell them, we need a truck." Ask them, "Do you have a truck?" And everyone always, "Oh yeah, we got a truck." This one fool says, "Yeah, we got a truck." So all right, cool. So I bring out this fucking dig out this 8-foot 4-box swing set. 4 boxes. One of them is a fucking slide box. Okay. And that was just a big plastic slide. But this fucking thing is heavy. So I bring it out there and wheel it out. All right, cool. Where's the truck? Oh, he points to this. He points to a Nissan Altima. I said, "Sir, you're gonna need a truck." Oh,
in,
no,
what reality is this?
Yeah. and he looks at me. He says, "Oh, we could fit it in the trunk." I said, "Where the fuck?" Are you? I said, "Sir, where the fuck are you gonna sit?" I said, "This is not going to fit in your trunk." I said, "We tried with a smaller one to see if we could get it kind of halfway in. But Nissan Altima's trunks, they're not that. I swear to God, after told me we tried another Nissan Altima, he looked at me and said, I swear to God, he asked me this. Was it the LE? And I looked at him and said, oh, the Nissan Altima LE. That's that motherfucker that has a Mary Poppins trunk, right? So I just dumped his shit and said, good luck getting that in there, and fucking walked off.
That's wild.
Just the LE. This motherfuckers.
Well, spatial awareness. Well, just before we jump into the movies, we had a few more people. Some of our amazing patrons have jumped in. I see NANA is in the house. Good to see you, NANA. And Commander Darklight as well. Good to see you. And you can see all of their names down there at the bottom. And so it was awesome to see them here. Beaver C says, I worked retail 35 years ago for a week and said, F this. Is he even 35 years later? He still remembers it. It's in there. It's in there, I swear. Oh, man. And I see Wrote It No Last Name is in the house. It's Black Friday, J.L. Warren's new horror script.
That's a good idea.
There is a thriller movie out there called Black Friday, or is it Black Sunday? I can't remember, but I mean, I'm no doubt that somebody has written a spec script about a horror movie based on Black Friday.
Well,
no
Krampus
doubt.
starts out with the Black Friday thing. I mean, that's kind of what Krampus is, taking a swing at. So,
all right, and I see. I think that was it. Oh, yeah, Aaron Reese says the worst I did was work the line at Target at assets protection. Thankfully, we had a proactive kick them out policy. Awesome. Travis Brown says there is a Black Friday movie with Bruce Campbell. There you go.
I can think of no other person better to play that.
That would be perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Yes.
Get some boomstick.
$129.95.
Yeah.
Find this in the sporting goods section. When he whips up his sword. Bam! The sword goes like, holy shit. I fucking love it.
All right, I know we're putting it off, but let's just fucking get this one.
Let's dive into it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. I got to dive into this one.
We don't have to talk about these movies. If
we do have to talk about this movie. We promised them a show. This is what it is. This is what it's going to be.
It's going to be. So this first one is a movie. That's all I have to say about it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yes. I'm not even, I'm what, Johnny? I'm not even gonna get the cue. You don't even want it to happen.
Hey, JL, what do we have up first?
We have a movie.
No, it's not.
No, well, it's something they put on film. This movie, the first movie we're talking about, I know we've let it, we're pretty much gilding the lily at this point. Released November 22nd, 1971. We have the movie The Feast of Satan. Yes, The Feast of Satan. So, right. Directed by Jose Maria Elorrieta and starring Espartaco Santanini, Kristen Nell, Teresa Gimpera, and Veronica Lujan. So, despite the title, what this movie does, let me see if I can summarize this movie in a way.
I can summarize this movie.
No, hang on. I got this.
No, you don't. Here it is. Ready? Done.
So, a woman searching for her missing sister arrives in a small coastal village where her sister was last seen. Unknown to her, her arrival's been noted by a crazy scientist who has designs on her. That could probably be better. No, it really can't, because this movie's fucking terrible.
It's awful.
Okay.
Bad.
Despite the title of Feast of Satan, despite the fact that everywhere I look, well, actually, this is what's interesting. Everywhere I look, the movie is listed as a horror film. Okay.
Yeah. So
this is not a horror film. Well, it technically kind of is.
It's a horrible film.
It's okay. Yeah, you could put that in parentheses on the end of that. You really, really could. But it was also very, very hard to find information on this movie.
It really was.
Which was really, really strange. Even when you go to the director and you look whenever I look for the director's everywhere was a selected filmography. And this film was not included in his selected filmographies. And there's no mystery as to why, because the movie is just not great. There's nothing even innovative about this thing. But I want to discuss this. I everything I've done, even the bad shit I've done, okay, I'm proud of because I got it. No, I'm proud of it because I got it in the can. I got it done. I respect that. This movie is the problem is the movie itself is not like technically bad. Okay, the acting is decent, the writing's okay. It's just the movie's fucking boring.
We talked about it a little bit in the green room. It was like they had some good ideas that they just kind of like put together. You know what I mean? But none of them. It doesn't really work. It doesn't. When you think of horror movie and you're like, I'm gonna go watch a horror movie that's called Satan's Feast or whatever.
Yeah, the Feast of Satan. That sounds interesting.
Fucking hell, there's going to be some sort of demonic this or blood and guts that.
Yeah, and then I read the synopsis. A girl goes looking for her missing sister who disappeared. After visiting a small coastal island, she goes try to hunt down what happened to her sister and falls prey to a satanic cult. Holy shit, that sounds good.
Great, but what you get when you watch this is some fucking 1990s Linda Fiorentino bullshit that is so god awful.
There wasn't. There wasn't even. And this will save it. One of the things that made, because we talked about a previous 1970s Italian film, which earlier the last what was it week before last. Beyond the Darkness.
Yeah.
One of the things that made Beyond the Darkness really good, really fantastic nudity in it. I mean, you look at like really graphic films like this. One of the things TNA makes some of these films enjoyable. It's just part of the genre.
Right.
There wasn't even. There was a little bit.
Was there? I
saw some side boob, and I saw one nipple.
Was it a nipple you saw? Or was it some candy corn?
I'm pretty sure it was one, but it was weird because the continuity was off. Because in the overhead scene, I see a nipple, but when it cut to the side scene, she was covered back up again. So I'm kind of like,
yeah, most likely it was just an accident that they didn't even notice.
Right. And so that's what was wild. Is I'm really, really proud of getting something in the can, whether or not it's good or not, because every time you get something in the can, it's a learning experience. And I don't like to forget it. I don't like to shelve stuff that I've worked on. But this thing obviously was shelved. People don't like talking about it, or they just don't like to remember it. Even the director doesn't want it on his. Didn't want it on his selected filmographies, or his estate doesn't want it there. But the movie exists, and I guess the mystery behind why there's so much mystery about the movie. I could never find anybody who's done any reviews on this thing. I couldn't find anyone. I couldn't find anything on this film beyond information about the people involved and the synopsis of the movie.
Yeah, the people are so embarrassed by it. Most people don't even want to admit that they've seen it. We don't get that card anymore.
Not even the reviewers want to admit they sat through this thing. I can tell you, man, I was bored to tears. I had to catch myself twice when I was looking at my phone, trying to find something while I'm listening to what's going on, because you got a decent opening. The opening is decent. The girl walks in. The sister comes in. She's all traumatized. She's traumatized to the point that her hair is.
Promise, it really does.
Yeah. The sister gets wheeled in, or she's so traumatized that her hair has turned white that she gets admitted to a psychiatric facility. Her sister's kind of like, what the hell's going on? What happened to her? Where did you like this? We don't know. She won't calm down and talk to us. We're going to try and sedate her, and maybe we'll be able to talk to her in the morning. But in the night, some bad guys come in and they kidnap her and steal her away. And then the sister's like, what the hell's going on? Where did she go? Well, we know she went to this island. Well, I'm going there too. So she goes to investigate because the police seem clueless. This is a good setup. She goes to the island, and then it turns into lifestyles of the rich and famous. Let's hang out at the discoteca and hang out on the boat, and lots of zoom in, like we talked about Beyond the Darkness, lots of zoom in emotive moments where it's kind of like, dun, dun. And then you got some moments that supposedly lead to violence, but there is no violence because it always cuts it short.
Yeah. What happened? I think. It's just, I don't get it. He was like, okay, we're getting to the good stuff. Like, it's like when you're gonna have sex for the first time, and then you wake up. God damn it!
And it was just a bummer. They had a lot of. If you look at it, the production value is decent. They're shooting off coastal Italy.
Yeah,
you have architecture. You've got the coast. You've got access to money because you're filming on fucking boats and shit out at sea. You're doing all kinds of fun stuff. But they don't do anything with it.
It seems like they spent, the budget they had, the bulk of it went to these types of things that are, don't get me wrong, set design is important.
Yes.
Right. Production design is really important. But this is another example of what happens when you put too much emphasis or too much into the wrong things. Yes, you want to make sure you have set dresses. Yes, you want to make sure that the production design is good. But when that's the entire focus of what you've got, and you don't focus on storytelling, you don't focus on the character building, story arcs, and making sure you actually deliver a horror movie when you're making a horror movie, your movie's going to suck.
It's going to be boring. Don't cut off the good stuff. We want to see the good stuff.
Does it seem like this is a movie without an identity or suffering from an identity crisis?
Right. Like it has no idea what it wants to be.
Yeah.
It must be a lot of things, and it fails at all of them.
Right. Because we got like some. Go ahead.
Because as we talked about earlier with the different ideas, it doesn't just commit to one.
Right.
Like let's dive deeper and deeper, and let's push one idea and see how far it can go. It just kind of bounces around, so it only kind of hits surface level, and it just kind of wishy-washy. Doesn't.
You got a little bit of psychological thrill. You got a little bit of psychological thriller. You got a little bit of drama. You got a little bit of intrigue. You got some romance. You got some, little dabs over here. But everything that makes those things good, they never hit on it. They never give much backstory to like the psychological, condition of the leader of the cult, the big rich guy who runs everything, and the relationship between his abusive mother and everything. They never go further than that. We just see like flashbacks, like when he's like, "Oh, I'm imagining my mom. Now I need to kill women. I need to sacrifice women to Satan." Why do you have to sacrifice them to Satan? Yeah. No explanation is given. It's just a fucking cult that's killing women, that's sacrificing women to Satan, and all the women they're sacrificing remind the leader of the cult of his mom. So I'm like, well, there's some there. You could mine that.
That's a weird Oedipal complex type thing.
Yeah, you can mine that for something.
Yeah, there is. That's a good idea, but they just did it like a running pass at it. Like, oh no, that's the reason. What's the reason?
Especially if he was like,
you didn't say anything.
Yeah, especially if like the cult leader was like hiding that information because he's more personally driven than driven towards Satan, but the rest of the cult is like, we're supposed to be doing this for Satan, but you're just doing it for yourself. This is good. This would be good stuff.
Conflict. It creates conflict, like the main overall arcing conflict, and then it has mini conflict in between the people who, like the bad guys. There's that conflict, which is good stuff. That's what people like. That's what you latch onto when you watch a film and you see conflict that makes sense. That's fucking draws you in. But
no, you have to. Conflict is one of the essential parts of a story. You need a protagonist, they need a goal, and they need an antagonistic force. That creates conflict.
Yes.
You have to have conflict. When there's no conflict, then it's just somebody goes to the grocery store.
Yeah.
That's your movie. They just get food, check out, and then go home.
Yeah. It's the funny thing, that was whenever I took a survey course into filmmaking, that was one of the story ideas they talked about. It's like, hey, can you make this into a good story? Somebody goes to the grocery store. People are like, no, you can't, because it's boring. And they say, well, what if the item they desperately needed for the reason why they're going to the grocery store is because they needed cranberries for the cranberry sauce for Thanksgiving, and the grocery store is all sold out. Oh, now we have conflict, and people start thinking, oh, okay, yeah, I can understand that. So, well, what if this, that, and the other? Then there was a way for them to get the cranberries, but they find some extra cranberries. Like, that part of the conflict was resolved. But then you get to the checkout and your fucking credit card gets denied. You don't have any cash. More conflict. There's ways to make this stuff interesting.
Or the place gets robbed.
Yeah. And
because it's busy on that. Because it's busy. People are last minute, so they want to take it. So crackheads want to take advantage of it or something of that nature.
Right.
Anything you could throw at it.
Right.
Right.
But the part of the point of the exercise was to look for the story in the story, and these guys just like, oh, there's a satanic cult. Okay, cool. And they just want that to be enough.
You see, this is interesting. Aaron Reese from the live chat brings up something really interesting here, and I didn't actually think of this one. He says, "Are we sure this isn't a chop film?"
That's what I was thinking.
Maybe they slapped it together from partials of multiple incomplete movies. And then you throw on a title like The Feast of Satan, and that kind of that would sell it. So maybe they would try to like glean something from like work that was spent. Like, there's a way we have all this shit that didn't work. Let's see if we can like put it together to just quickly do a quick cash in to make up for the investments that we didn't shoot and the stuff that didn't get seen, which is pretty smart. I mean, in the 70s, that would make sense. And I mean, I don't know if that's still a tactic today, given what goes into setting up a film. like they would utilize that, because nowadays when they shoot, they try to use everything they can.
I don't know. Look at Jason X. That was kind of a chop film. I mean, not in the sense that we're talking about here, but there was a lot of things that were changed different. They kind of like mashed a bunch of shit together to make it, right. So maybe not in that sense where they're just taking fucking random projects from all over and shoving them together to make a film out of it. But I do think that those types of things still happen. They just kind of, shoestring some shit together, put it out, and make some money off of it.
Sarcasm, and the crackheads steal the cranberry sauce. Now we have a revenge story on Thanksgiving. This is going to be another movie. We're going to set up another film on this podcast, and someone's going to end up shooting this damn thing.
Yep.
It'll be a good short. That would be a good short.
I think it would be really funny.
It's got to go. It's literally got to go. I need cranberries, and go from a trip to the grocery store at Thanksgiving to John Wick.
Look,
this is what I want though.
Eugene.
I want wait. So if we went like straight John Wick style, I want it to be almost like Hot Fuzz. So you have like all the elderly people that get it, and he just starts John Wick killing all these elderly people that get the cranberries.
We could shoot that in a weekend.
You just love that scene with Simon Pegg just straight. Just air drop kicks that fucking old man. Just wow. That's so brilliant. Morning. But yeah, this film, I was curious about, that's interesting. Why the mystery behind this? Why so little about it out there? And I can understand that people were not proud of this movie. I get that. I like what Aaron Reese brought up. Maybe it is actually a chop film, something they just spliced together really fast to try and like recoup the investment on the film that was shot that never got seen. And they just slapped the Feast of Satan on it. And that will attract audiences to at least get a little bit of box office. Maybe it was that. I don't know. But all I know is that this film left way too much to the imagination. Virtually all of the violence. I think the only real
thing was left to imagination.
The only real violence that was in there was
you throwing the popcorn at the fucking screen because the movie was so shit.
Well, at the end, you have a satanic cult that's sacrificing people, but the only violence that occurs in the movie is when the second in command turns on the leader because second in command loves, likes, respects the current sacrifice, and I don't know, she turns on him, stabs him in the back. He dies, then she pulls the knife out and stabs herself, and then the very last guy hangs himself, and then all the remaining members of the cult, they all disappear, and we never see it again.
Drop the Kool-Aid and walk off like fuck this shit.
And there's no resolution because at the end of it, she's all traumatized. Now the sister's all traumatized, and her hair is all white, and she's just sitting there and then there's credits. So everything is up here. If I wanted the movie to be in my fucking head, I'd
read a fucking book.
Okay? I'd read a book. If I wanted the movie in my head, I'd read a fucking book. So, but yeah, this is, maybe. But this is interesting to that because the only reason it's interesting, this film was interesting at all, was because it made me think about what was going on around the film. Because, just like today, there are movies out there, we watch them and we're like, how, given what we know in our experience, Eugene's experience, my experience, Johnny's experience in the industry, there are some movies out there we watch, how the hell did this get signed off on? It's why did anyone think this was going to make money?
Well, I think this is another one of those things where we talk about often where it's a problem with producers or production houses getting too involved, and that's what kind of fucks up a film, when you look at what we generally consider the worst movie of all time, that X versus Sever. When you're talking about that, right? It's so bad. The movie is terrible. It's so bad, but
not as bad as Silent Hill Revelation.
There you go. But you've got top-notch talent, Lucy Liu and Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas, yeah.
Top-notch talent. They got the cinematography was really good. Set designs were good. The direction seemed to be good, but the movie just didn't work. So there's too many things wrong with it, and it seems like there's too much influence in there of outside influences talking about. Well, we need to make sure that we feature Lucy Liu doing Lucy Liu stuff and Antonio Banderas doing Antonio Banderas stuff because that's what's going to make money. And people are like, well, but it's not Desperado,
right?
Yeah, that is when you start dealing with producers, and a lot of times the filmmakers, the ones who the directors, the DPs, and all that kind of stuff, usually are the ones that come from humble beginnings, or you have producers that for some reason or another have access to lots of money.
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily have the film background of it. So you can have the crew and like, okay, this is what we think is good. And then the producer can go, I got a really great idea. Let's do this. And you have to take it at the bare minimum consideration because they have the money. Sometimes they even hire
feel like what we should do is the second assistant director who's leading the second team, on their off days, they should be filming all the producers' great ideas. That way they can send them those dailies, but then you go and make your film the way you want to make it. And then when it's all canned, you send it out to the producers, like, check it out. I mean, we use all your ideas. They're all in the movie somewhere. And he's like, but I don't see them. Oh, yeah, we had to cut them. We had to cut them for time.
We had to cut them.
We had to cut them for length. Yeah.
Thank you. Sarcasm, thank you. Yes, the movie Lamageddon. That is a double feature I need to do. I need to show on Discord. I need to show Lamageddon, double feature, Lamageddon and Velocipaster.
Oh, yes.
That would make the perfect A film, B film. Like the perfect double features of those two movies would be fantastic. I saw the trailer for Lamageddon. I still haven't watched it, but I saw the trailer for Lamageddon. I was like, this is amazingly bad. Yes, sarcasm right. So bad it was comedy gold.
And see, this is when you talk about like bad movies like Velocipaster and stuff like that, it's a bad movie, but it's so entertaining.
But they're made to be bad.
And they are.
Nobody makes a movie called Velocipaster. Seriously. Nobody
about a pastor that turns into a dinosaur and takes on ninjas?
Yeah.
It's like Kung Fury. It's like Kung Fury.
Right.
It is.
This is going to be my Oscar. No, they're like, fuck it. Let's go ahead and make a stupid movie. And they succeed. And we love them for it. We love them for these stupid movies. Sit down and you think to myself, I'm not going to watch this stupid fucking movie about a llama or about a pastor who turns into a dinosaur. And then fucking 2 hours later, like, I just watched a movie about a llama.
that was like the trailer. I'm watching this. Oh, I was watching the trailer. I was like, oh, okay, so it's a space llama. Oh, and its eyes are red. Oh, and the eyes smoke. Smoke. Oh, and they shoot lasers.
Yeah.
This is fun. Oh, not just like like Superman style. This is fantastic shit. This is fucking great.
Yeah. Right, but those people are making those movies. They're just having fun with it.
Oh yeah, it has to be fun.
Yeah.
So one of the big keys, I think, coming down to this is even if the movie is shit. I mean, if you like, I think pretty much we all know if the movie's going to be shit, the people who make it know it's going to be shit. Well, I think one of the keys there is don't take it seriously. Because when you start taking it seriously, it becomes maudlin, and then that just makes the whole thing even more obvious that the thing is crap. If you at least take it tongue in cheek, or maybe just a little satirical, and you just like make fun of it in that respect, or just like have fun with it, because obviously from watching Feast of Satan, the movie didn't look fun to make. It didn't look like the actors were having fun. They were being professional. They were doing their job and delivering their lines, delivering it believably. But it just seemed like it's legit. This is just one more paycheck and we're done. Move on to the next. So
it may not have been even a paycheck at that quality.
Right. That's true. Absolutely.
I can't believe that the favor that he called. I thought he was going to ask me to help him move a couch. Here I am in some fucking stupid movie. That's what it is.
So moving on from there. I mean, we've dogged on Feast of Satan enough, and I don't think anybody
have we though?
Probably not. But I don't want to. I want to ask the audience, because one thing Feast of Satan did, and they did it. I think they either they did it deliberately or they had no choice, was leaving everything. It was leaving so much of it ambiguous. Yep. You had to essentially make up the scenes in your head and run with it that way. Like, what happened here? What happened? Because after the sister gets kidnapped, we have no resolution. We never find her again. She's just gone. So there is a lot of ambiguity in the film. So my question is, for the audience, do you enjoy a level of ambiguity in your horror films? Do you like a lot of ambiguity? No ambiguity? Is there a kind of a fine line where it becomes too much or too little? Let me know if you dig that, or if you don't dig that. If you like things that have resolution, if you like things like kind of open, or if ambiguity kind of adds to the flavor. I'm really, really curious what the audience thinks of that. Let me know and let us know in the comments below or at weekinhorror@gmail.com. Let's get off of this piece of shit so we can get to a good movie.
Yeah.
Eugene, what do we got next?
Yeah.
Good this movie is.
Oh, I'm so glad I threw that.
So next we have Contracted, which was released November 22nd, 2013. It was directed by Eric England, and it stars Nahara Townshed, Carolina Williams, and Allison McDonald. And basically what happens is that you have a girl and a guy ends up taking advantage of her, sexually assaults her, and she contracted something that begins to turn her into a zombie. And all sorts of nice, gory special effects.
Oh, yeah.
And shit gets real.
There it is.
And don't forget, the Shit Gets Real t-shirt is available on our Teespring. Link down in the description.
Yeah, that's right here. That's where you need a link. You need the link to pop up.
That's true.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, production talk. Everybody just go la la la. Put your earphones on, everybody. We gotta do that shit. We gotta get to, like, when it's Eugene's turn to deliver a film. Nobody says a word until shit gets real.
Shit gets real. Oh, hey, good to see you. And the George is in the house. Good to see you. Oh, hope you feel better soon. He says he's sicker than a dog. And I also see Glober Mom says hello, everyone. Back from Irish Demon stream and premiere. Very cool. Thank you so much, Glober Mom. I do appreciate it. Good to see everybody. I don't think
George said has never arrived.
Do what?
Your shirt and the George said? Let us know. Send us an email, and the George, or send a Discord message. Be better for that one. We're having
if the shirt gets sent back to me as unreturned, then I get a notification. The only Sarcasm just received his Shit Gets Real t-shirt today. But yeah, if it gets returned as undeliverable, I get an immediate notification, just like it happened with Jinju. Jinju's shirt got returned to me as undeliverable, but sometimes Teespring just takes time. And if I remember correctly, that was Jinju. That was in October. So yeah, and then and the Jord said you had a limited edition shirt number 4. Yeah, I shipped it to you, and it was not delivered as unreturned. It wasn't shipped back to me, so I don't know. I got the notification that it was delivered.
It says he thinks it might have been a porch pirate.
Oh, that sucks. Oh, I hope not, dude. I really hope not. Dang. Oh, so yeah, that blows. I hope not. But and Glover Mom says she got her shirt last week. Fan friggin' test. Travis Brown got his. Good to go. Because I get notifications when they get dropped, just to make sure that they get hit. So and Jinju, let me know. Let me know. Make sure I got your right address so I can reroute that back to you. All right, but sorry about that. I just want to say hi to the people who jumped in. Thank you, and Cindy Johnson popped in. Did I see? Yeah, there she is, Cindy Johnson. Good evening. Good evening. To you. Thank you so much for joining us. But I apologize for jumping in there. Eugene. Yes, Contracted.
Oh man.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Which leaves nothing up to the imagination in this one.
No. You see it all.
Don't eat and then watch.
Yeah,
watch and then scrub your mind with bleach and then eat. Golly, so like you have social undertones here. I don't think they're undertones. I think they're overtones.
Overtones?
The obvious.
Well, the film was a visual feast.
You mean like a feast of Satan?
I so wanted to use that line. This film was a visual feast. Yeah, so shockingly, it didn't take the film is hardcore. It didn't take me to that point. Just like a very similar film, Thanatomorphose, which is a film that kind of like same thing, so same social issues, violence against women, and results in the same kind of like grossness, but still didn't hit me like Brain Dead did. Brain Dead's the only horror film that's ever made me physically ill. which is why, a Dead Alive. Dead Alive is the only film that has made me physically ill. But these ones were rough. And yeah, I would say when I say the social undertones, it gives you social overtones. Obviously, we have a female-led horror film, and she's not really she's not really a final girl. Violence against women, STDs, date rape, and that. Not to mention LGBT, because she's kind of flip-flopping between men and women. She's confused. She's angry. She's at odds with her mother.
She's gender fluid.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't know if she's gender fluid.
Well, no. I got the sense that she didn't know that she didn't know who she wanted to be with was the problem.
Yeah,
and then everyone around her felt like she was taking advantage of them. And that's how people were responding. They were like her ex-girlfriend was like,
so that's kind of how her attacker worked his way in, right? Because at this party, and he was asking about her significant other and why she wasn't there with her and whatnot. He used it as a means, then you don't really care about this person. So that was a manipulation that he used in order to take advantage of her. And
then he drugged her.
Well, yes, of course, but right, we were gonna skip over that part because. But
it was it's rough.
It really
and I think beyond relatable to many viewers out there who, I mean, it's not overly graphic as depiction, but definitely it hits that, and it's it's hardcore, and then it's even worse.
That's the one of the out of the majority of this movie that isn't over the top with graphicness of it. That's the one that's subdued, but it's probably the one that has the most effect because it's so subdued, and you kind of have to, you're putting yourself in that character's position just by the clues and what little you do see during that rape scene. It's really well done. And I hate to say it sounds kind of shitty when you're talking about a rape scene. They shot it really well, but in context of the film, they did an amazing job with that. This is an independent film. Who the fuck put it out? Oh God, I can't remember. But
the IFC. This is IFC. Independent film channel. Yeah.
It was an excellent movie. It's shot really well.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and shot from when you take the perspective of trauma like this, taken from the lead character, because it's all her perspective. We are constantly with her on her journey through this, and that's the thing that hit me the most is that obviously. Aaron Reese. Aaron Reese just points out rape is a plot device, something a lot of people are coming out against now. And I understand that. I understand the knee-jerk reaction to it, but it is a terrifying thing, and it is a subject that needs to be addressed. That, awareness of this, how to combat it. This is one of those things. Why horror utilizes it, because this is one of those things that people in society really don't like to deal with because of the trauma, because of the horror, because of the damage it does. People just don't like being faced with this. Horror movies allow us to do that, and to have these conversations and to internalize these things and put it in a way that we can address them. And Contracted did it extremely well. Only utilized the lasting trauma that comes after a sexual assault or a date rape. That lasting trauma can feel psychologically I have not heard any woman disagree with this, that it feels like it eats away at them every single day.
So that was one thing I wanted to bring out about this movie and a movie like It Follows and whatnot. The conversation, there's a lot of people have a problem with, well, this is a rape-driven movie where the victim of the rape turns out to be she gets contracted through no fault of her own, right? She was and they look at, well, now you're turning her into the monster because of something that happened to her that was not her fault. It's, well, yeah, if you take that portion of it and then everything else literally, right, as it's being shown on the film, I can see what you're saying. But if you look at the conversation that's being had there of how these types of trauma, specifically sexual assault, is damaging, right? If you don't look at the character as really turning into a zombie, but how it's like this thing that's happened to her is killing her from the inside out, and how it starts to affect her relationships with other people.
She refuses to address it.
Exactly right. So she refuses to address it, and then that has detrimental effect on the relationships that you have with her girlfriend, with her family members, with friends. Because if you look at it from that scope, from that context, That's where you need to look at these conversations, these films are forcing you to have. Look at what they're saying about how damaging these types of things are, and how we really need to take sexual assault serious, because this is the hyper drama, manifestation of that.
Right.
Girl turns into a zombie because of an STD, and it's, that's the allegorical thing we're looking at, versus what we're really supposed to look at of how these types of assaults are extremely damaging, not just to the people that it happens to, but to everybody who's involved with this person, because again, it breaks down relationships. It causes, psychological torment and mental scarring and PTSD and all these things that we need to address.
And one thing about it is, I always felt like the zombie part itself wasn't as important as the fact that a lot of times when that happens to people, there's the feeling of your body's being taken away from you on it, and that now it belongs to something else. You're changing, we have this innate idea that's like, you control yourself. You are who you are. This is your body. And then someone violently takes that from you. And it's like, everything that you've been taught up to that point is just wrong. Someone can take your body from you on it, and the detrimental effects to it. It's just talking with people who've been through experiences like that. And I'm glad that there are movies out there that will have that conversation, because we even today, it's still hard for victims to come out. It is the only crime. Well, people will blame the victim. Well, you shouldn't have drank so much. What were you wearing? Did you give any false signals?
And they definitely explore that, because that's one of her primary concerns after she's assaulted. It's that she literally goes through she's in the situation, she knows what's happened to her, and then she's in her mind trying to rationalize this thing. Like, did I do this? Did I do that? What happened here? Did I allow this to happen? I'm in this kind of situation. Did I come on to him? I don't know. She doesn't know. But then she doesn't want to address it out loud. She doesn't want to address it with other people, because she's afraid of people coming onto her, coming at her with that. Well, what did you do to bring this on? So that forces her to isolate and not address her problem, which invariably leads to the deterioration of her body, of not just first her body and then her mind.
Right.
And she begins to realize that she's alone, and just like a person lashing out at that trauma, because you can't fight the trauma itself, so you lash out at everything around you because you're projecting it everywhere, and that's what she's doing. Everyone's abandoning me. Everyone hates me. It's like, and the allegory is absolutely brilliant. And as the story follows her journey through this, we're with her every single step of the way. The deterioration of her social life, the deterioration of her personal life, the things going on in her own, like the things that she loved are now slipping away from her, and the trauma consumes her just as the virus is consuming her from the inside out, until eventually, at the end, she's completely unrecognizable and no one knows what to do.
Right.
And everyone's at a loss because they're suddenly taken aback by the culmination of what has occurred. It was a beautiful, and gory, gross, stomach churning at some points, but that is what women who are victimized in this fashion, that is what they go through. I could not think of a more perfect allegory as far as a horror film to convey the emotion of what is happening when an individual, male or female, goes through this trauma. It doesn't matter. That trauma consumes you from the inside. Right. This is just watching it in visual fashion, and what it feels like for them. And that's why it hit me. It'll hit you in this. It'll hit you in two ways. It'll hit you in the gut, because when the maggots and shit start,
that's the little things, like when she's peeling off her fingernails and whatnot.
Right. Fingernails start coming out. The hair starts coming out. Her eyes start milking over. Skin starts deteriorating. Maggots and stuff start coming out of her, unmentionable places, and still not dealing with this. So really, really wild stuff, until eventually it culminates into the tragedy that it becomes. And I apologize about this. I got to jump over here to the live chat. Logical Hillbilly, I do apologize. Says, right, JL, you don't have to say my name. I'm often mistaken for being absent. I do see you, sir, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah, I do apologize about that. But yeah, this one was hard.
It's a tough movie for multiple reasons.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
And from that social perspective is amazing. Makes this film really underrated. It's just the graphic nature of it, the essentially the zombifying from the inside out makes it really hard to watch, which I think was what hurt it overall. But I think everybody should see it because if you can stomach that,
I don't know if it hurt it overall.
I like it. I like it.
Oh, I love it as well. Yeah.
No, it won some awards. It did very well in the circuit, so I don't think it hurt it. I think actually that was probably the thing that brought more people to have this film. I think those things brought the other attention to it, right? Well, it's a zombie film, so you get that zombie crowd, and then everything. You know what I mean?
And that's what's cool is that this is flipping the zombie script. Zombie movies in themselves. I love zombie films. I love the undead, whether they're like Romero slow zombies, slow shamblers, or there are Zack Snyder fast super zombies that are just fucking terrifying and shit. I don't care. Zombie movies are great, and I love the different ways that zombies can be done. Viral zombies, alien zombies, magical zombies, doesn't matter.
Demonic zombies.
I dug using zombies as an allegory. Because I can't remember the last time I saw before this one.
It should look. Every zombie film, every good zombie film is never about zombies.
Exactly. Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, especially. Yeah. Dawn of the Dead was obvious.
Yeah, that was heavy-handed, but good way.
Right, but Return of the Living Dead. I wouldn't say Return of the Living Dead was really that because
military
industrial complex.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe, and I hadn't seen it taken to this particular level because typically zombies are allegorical for the ails of society, like things that are bad, like big government, big pharma, the unknown of like space or like the intrusion into like space, the intrusion into medicine or whatever, humans tampering with things they have no business with.
Right.
But it's like consumerism, the things that blind us, things that make us all act the same, that turn us into lemmings herding towards Black Friday and stuff. So, and consumption of things like they tell us what to consume and then we go and consume it. Oh, I must have a big screen TV, which is perfect. It was always so great. I'd never seen it done in this way. And I love how it flipped the script on that and utilized another aspect of zombies that people don't really think about. The loss of identity, the deterioration of self. And then applied that to like individual trauma. Brilliant in that. Flipping the script. Always really, really cool when they do it and they do it successfully.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Hands down, agreed. This is one of those movies that you need to watch.
Yep. Second one, I don't know. The second one,
Yeah,
I don't know about that. Yeah. One. I mean, there's a phase one. This is phase one. There is a phase two. Where kind of it continues on, but it goes more into the whole the guy who committed the act in the first one is actually like trying to bring about the end of the world and shit. He's kind of like he's spreading the disease. So
it gives him a weird motivation. I don't know if I like it.
Although I will say the second one had some pretty graphic stuff as well. When the girl is zombifying, she tries to pull her contacts out. That was. Because she realized her eyes are bugging her, so she realized she got to take her contacts out, and they kind of like fused to her eyes. Yeah, that was horrible. That was pretty horrific.
So, anyways, on that one. So
I gotta say, Aaron Reese. Karens are basically the bloater of consumer zombies.
This is true.
Oh, so Ken says, nah, the bloaters ride scooters. Karens are the screamers. I think it's a Left 4 Dead reference there. Nicely done.
Well, I know. So we've been talking about Contracted, and we briefly mentioned the second one, Phase 2. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like, and I want to ask the audience, do you feel like there should be a third one on it? My opinion, I think no. I think first of all, it shouldn't even be a second one. You just have the isolated story. You have your overall theme that the theme and message that you're trying to show the audience. you can't just keep shoving the same theme at the audience constantly. So you have to go somewhere else. I think anywhere else you go detracts from the first.
Right.
Oh, no. But yeah, let us know if there should be a third one or not. Yes or no?
No, there should only be one.
I'm saying no, and I agree. There shouldn't have been a 2. They didn't need exploration. It was a nice, tight story because at the end, ultimately, she dies, she turns, and then she gets put down by the police because she assaults her, she attacks her mother, and the end of the zombie story. That's the end of the zombie story because she gets shot in the head, so she's done. And it didn't need. I know that the director probably wanted to express it. You could have just left it there. That maybe what happened to her was a manifestation of her trauma. And, it was kind of ambiguous. Like, well, was he infected with the zombie virus or was this? Yeah, that's the kind of ambiguity that works.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. When the film leaves the ambiguous nature of the film, or is pulled from the film itself, like you know, all this stuff, all this information, this story, and then at the end of it was like, but was it real, or was it something different? That's the kind of ambiguity that works. The shit that was in that first movie. They just stopped the movie. They're just like, okay, we can't do this anymore. We need to stop it. Roll fuck credits.
Right.
That's all we could say.
Travis Brown says, yes, should only be 2. Aaron Ray says, if you've ever had to wipe down an electric shopping cart seat, that's a horror movie. That's some contracted shit right there.
I was sitting there and I went over to the fair and we ended up taking a dart rail at one of the dart rail stations, and like a lady was sitting in one of the chairs and she just pulled her pants. She didn't even stand up. She just pulled her pants down and just let it flow. Just golden showered the entire chair and everything underneath, including some of her own stuff.
I guess it's when it's your own.
I guess. So that traumatized me. Anyways.
What the hell? Nerd Journal says, hey, zombies have to be real. How else is JFK Jr. going to show up?
Oh my God.
That was nice. Sarcasm says trilogies are overrated. Aaron Reed says sequels need to feel like they were planned before the first movie was even shot. Good point. And Charlie Welch rounds that up with a blah.
Yeah. That JFK Jr. comment, I don't.
Just this is the world we live in.
That's a real thing. That's what makes it.
I know.
Dumbasses in our home state. They're like, hey, well, check it out.
Maybe they thought it was going to be like a tulpa. Like if enough people believe that it will literally manifest into reality. Like JFK Jr. manifested into reality because so many people believed it. Kind of like Slender Man and shit. You got JFK Jr. like,
just exactly like that. He's
oh man, I guess we need to get into this next one because
yes,
it's a very up and down episode.
It really is.
It is.
This one's not terrible. It's not as bad as Feast of Satan. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say this was bad. It's just old as fuck.
It's even older than Feast of Satan. So yeah.
Yep. Anyway, so we're talking about the 1958 kind of Hammer horror-ish, not really Hammer horror. I Was a Teenage Frankenstein, or
57.
58 is when it came out.
I'm
57. Sorry, double feature. Well, I guess 57 as a double feature was Blood of Dracula.
Yes,
but it was released in 1958, according to these. What you say? We're going by the release date in the States. Fucking years.
It was.
You know what? I didn't interrupt you when you did your stupid shit. Don't you interrupt me when I'm doing mine.
Because the 57 release date is in November.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's called Week in Horror for a reason.
I Was a Teenage Frankenstein is a film starring Whit Bissell, Phyllis Cope, and Gary Conway.
Okay. Action wit, which is something Johnny has never heard.
Nope, never. Ever.
Because I don't think that's
This is an old 50s films, and
Oh,
these
yeah.
old 50s films are fun. I like these old. Hi, sorry, doggy. I like these old films. I love this shit. You know,
This was good. This is good classic filmmaking. You know,
Yeah.
at the time when the basics. I mean, this is obviously riffing along the classic Universal monsters, just repackaging them into different forms so they could deliver them to a different demographic.
This
And
is the second or the third one in the young
the second one, the first one was I Was a Teenage Werewolf.
yeah.
Which I think a lot of people could have. I think that one, a lot of people. The cool thing about this, the history of this, is that Universal began to market films towards their Universal monsters towards a younger demographic because this was in the 50s, whereas the previous one grew up in the 30s when you had Dracula, Bela Lugosi, and Frankenstein, Boris Karloff, Claude Rains, Invisible Man, and so on and so forth. You had the classic Universal monsters
of these monster.
So then they get their sequels, they get their trilogies, they get a couple of crossovers, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, and so on. And then, of course, you got to start repackaging. 20 plus years later, we still have these properties, but there's a new demographic. The people who grew up with Dracula are now, homeowners. They just don't have the time to go out to the drive-in anymore, to go to the movie house,
go to the picture show,
to go to the flicker shows.
The flicker shows.
To the flicker. I've never seen me a flicker show. So, for those who have seen Green Mile, yeah, he was a Michael Clark Duncan, rest in peace, bud. So, and they begins this trend of kind of repackaging and remarketing and putting going for the demographic of young teenagers. So why not put the idea
about reboots? This shit's been going on since literally the beginning.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's been going on since the 30s.
Yeah.
Because Bela Lugosi wasn't the only one to play Dracula. They retold that story a number of times between the 30s and the 60s before even Hammer Horror got a hold of it and started doing it again.
Yep.
So yeah, this is like par for the course. This is SOP for the industry. Is just rebooting, rehashing, remixing, trying to change it up a little bit. And that's what was fun about this one, is that they started re-gearing towards teenagers by putting teenagers in the slot. Like, I Was a Teenage Werewolf, I Was a Teenage Frankenstein, and these two work because the idea of the Wolfman, I Was a Teenage Werewolf, the idea of change. Teenagers are growing up, things are changing all around them. They're moving from adolescence into adulthood, and sometimes you feel alone, sometimes you feel different. You're getting hair in funny places, and that's what Wolfman, that works. And the same thing kind of goes for Frankenstein, where you're kind of coming into your identity of who you are. Are you an amalgamation of what your parents have made? Or are you, your own man? How individualized do you have your individual? Or are you what society has composed you? Are you what everybody else wants you to be? Or are you who you are? And people are asking these questions, which is why I think these two movies, who really the Werewolf and Frankenstein, released the same year in 1957. And Wolf, I Was a Teenage Werewolf was just months. I think it was in July of 57, which is why these two did so well and why they popped as well. And because teenagers could relate to it. And this, of course, helps to kick off the entire stream of, let's put teenagers in horror movies.
Yep.
Because they can identify. I want to be a hero. I want to be this. I can put myself in the shoes because I don't know who I am. Maybe I can be this person.
Maybe I can be Steve McQueen.
Right.
That teenager.
And this particular one, despite it's 1957, the effects are kind of goofy. It's like the face.
No, the effects were great for the time.
Well, it's true for the time. Yeah, they're amazing. When you go up there, it's like it was great stuff. And you can see some of the inspirations of this kind of going into Twilight Zone. How Twilight Zone took some of the inspirations from that, and I really enjoyed what they did. I particularly loved the story on this. How they really went after the idea of, they used the Frankenstein story and then just repackage it towards a younger audience that has those identity issues. And it played so well. I thought it was smart. And this is just, and while, you watch it one time and you're good to go, you're just like, I don't need to see this again. Watch it with Blood of Dracula, which was a double feature, or watch it with, I Was a Teenage Werewolf, or Teenage Wolfman, and then, double feature or whatever. And then you're good to go. It was an oddly enjoyable, kind of like throwaway movie. This a fun time. This is what made 50s movies fun.
Yeah. I agree. I think anybody if you haven't seen this, or any of the good old schlock of the 50s and 60s, you should check it out. It's horror films that you can watch with your kids
Oh yeah,
they're not going to be over the top, gruesome and gory and whatnot. They might get a little fright out of it depending on how old they are, but good. This is like really good. Somebody asked me once what kind of stuff I would show my kids to introduce them to the horror genre. It would be stuff like this. If I, earlier on, when they're 8 or 9 or whatever, show them stuff like this. It'd be great. It's good stuff. It's fun. These are just fun stuff.
I mean, on top of that, you got a film that just knows its audience.
Yeah.
If you know exactly who you're going for and who you're targeting, you make a film for them. And if you pull off everything they're looking for, you can't go wrong.
I think this is something that's worth exploration. Classic films from studios, this is back back in the day when studios pretty much had way more control. Okay. And it's different than it's different than it is today. And people were saying the reason I'm thinking about this, Aaron Ray says, I only have problems with the late 80s and early 2000s, so much garbage. That's because filmmaking ideology, I guess the theory of filmmaking when it comes to studio involvement and everything it's wildly different than it is today.
Yep.
So back then, I've noticed that, like you said, films really didn't have identity problems. In the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, films knew what they were. They knew who they were targeted for, and that was the focus.
Well, see, but the beauty part about films back then is that because it was a new thing. Like making movies back in the 30s, the 20s, and 30s was brand fucking new.
Oh yeah.
So it didn't naturally the experimentation was making the movie, right? So there wasn't that inclination we've been doing this shit for fucking 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80 years. Now let's see if we can experiment and do something different. And it just fails because there's too many people trying to put their great ideas, their great experimental ideas into a film.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Right.
And back then you had, studio involvement. It was pretty much the studio head, people in between, and the director.
Yeah.
And it was very streamlined. Right.
Yeah. Because they were all learning this genre, this new art form. There was just not so much. There was more back and forth, probably more trust for directors by studio heads than today. And there was no, back then, if you had a hit film, you weren't going to make $1 million or $1,000, $10,000 maybe, right? Nowadays, you're talking about, you need to return. You've got fucking Marvel Studios making $48 million budgeted films that need to return $100+ million to be considered successful.
Sometimes you have to hit at least hit your budget in opening weekend,
right?
At minimum.
Yeah, at minimum.
We spent this amount of money to make the movie. We need to make that money back. The Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the first 3 days.
Yeah.
It's what the shit. And it has become more complicated. And it's right. And I think because while there were problems with that top-down structure of the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s, the way studio heads, the way studios manage their actors, manage their directors. People were contracted out, and people were, contractually obligated because you say we would sign you for a 5-picture deal. You do 5 pictures, and then you're done. You're gone unless you re-up. But you haven't made us any money, so we're not going to re-up your contract. You make us a bunch of money, you got 5 movies.
Yeah.
And then that's how it was done. It was very streamlined and I think very controlled. So you have not only a bunch of voices. You got the director's voice, probably the writer's voice if they had clout, and the studio executives. That's pretty much it.
Oh, even a lot of times the directors back then, because if you have the named actors, the Clark Gable, the Humphrey Bogarts of that level, they're going to take them over a director any day. So you would have 5-6 directors that actually worked on one film, and the only one that gets credited is the last one. So you may have somebody who they were the director on the post-production audio. That was it. And they'll get the full director credit because they were the last one.
Yeah, so I think, while there were problems with that process, obviously there's people got taken advantage of. Sometimes people just got, shitty movies thrown their way because of contractual obligations so that they would get the dread that happened to Bela Lugosi in his final years. There were contractual obligations, so they just threw him garbage to fulfill their contractual obligation just so they could get rid of him. Something that happens. People get taken advantage of. It is capitalism at its worst. But we did get a better run of movies than I think we do today, just because of all the influence you got. Pardon me. I think I'm about to sneeze. Sorry.
Me too.
Oh, anyway, because nowadays you got investors who have their says. You have boards of directors that get their say.
There it is.
There we go. I think I muted myself in time. You got the board of directors that have their say. You got the director that has their say. You got the actors who have their say. Unions have their say. Yeah. There's a lot of cooks in that kitchen. You know, it's like Duncan Jones said. Sometimes it's death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah. I was gonna say ultimately the guy who's the last say is a money man. Like, no.
Right.
Yeah. You know.
An interesting thing, and I think it also should be stated, because the teenage thing, while it kind of lingered and putting teenagers in movies was great, there was a social outcry when this thing took off. You know, when people started putting teenagers in these roles, when studios started putting teenagers in these roles, there was a reaction to this, which I found to be very eerie because this is the 50s, and normally this is like something I first started hearing about in the 80s. You know,
even Public Outcry, there's no original content in Public Outcry.
I'm just waiting.
Go silent for JL. He mutes his mic, and we all just stop talking to piss him off. Leaving my basketball. I'm going home.
That's it. So our next movie today is going to be.
What were we talking about? We're talking about social outcry and teenagers, and look, man, there's nobody's got anything original. Even your outrage has been done before. Okay, all you social justice warriors.
Yeah, talking about things such as, oh my God, now they're teenagers. Back then, it's just adults.
Yep.
It was adults, or you had like a family.
Or the teenager was, again, Steve McQueen, who was 40 or some shit like that.
Yeah, exactly. On it. But I mean, it's appealing to a new audience because you're getting this generation that comes up for the first time that grows up on movies.
Right.
When you get movies from the 20s, people are already adults by the first time they ever saw their first movie. And it was just something, it probably became a nice little novelty that they could enjoy throughout the rest of their life. But when people are born and you're exposed to movies, people go in the movies, they've hit that cultural point on it, and you're marketing to that new generation out there that now has a voice.
Exactly. And it's important to, I think that's what really, like JL said earlier, that's kind of what cemented teenagers being integral part of the horror genre.
Mm-hmm.
So we can thank, I was a teenage Frankenstein and I was a teenage werewolf. We can thank her for that.
Because even the teenage years are always so confusing. They can be so difficult because you're dealing with school, you're dealing with that transition of becoming from a child to an adult, and it's always a weird. Hormones are out of whack. There's so many crazy things that we can all relate to. When you start getting older and older and older in life, people go their separate ways, and based on your experiences, something may or may not relate to you. But we all remember things like going through puberty, when you're in high school and you have your high school crush that you see walk down the hallway. How do you deal with that? How you're dealing with friends coming in and out all the time.
Make an awkward joke, laugh at yourself, and then turn around and run away. That's how you do
and
it.
then you hope that works.
Yeah, exactly. And you go hide out in the corner like,
it's interesting. Interesting here. Yeah, Aaron Reese points out it all goes through waves. Every trend circles back and sparks the same counter trend.
Yep.
I think that looking into this and looking to the societal response, I guess like the parental response, that generation responding to this film, and I realized that the whole thing, like, because when I grew up, in the late 80s going into the 90s, it was about video games. Because video games were becoming so prevalent. It was about video games inspiring people to do violence.
Right.
Whereas in this one, it was like, but it goes back to movies. And I have no doubt if I researched it and went back even further, it would be books. Certain books inspiring people, these ideas, or certain plays. Right.
Yeah, that was part of my discipline when graduating whatever English major. You have to read all these fucking books and learn about world history, and you had all this stupid shit, all this literature bullshit that I want to have to read. But yeah, they talk about that. They talk about how, the first time people read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and how that influenced people. And they were like, oh no, all these different ways that nothing is original. People have been pissed off about entertainment for millennia. Yeah.
Oh, I see Angie has joined us. Thank you so much, Angie. It's good to see you. And I am sorry to hear that
the people that were pissed off at like Mozart and Beethoven and Bach because they did things called harmony. No bullshit. I'm not kidding. That was a legitimate complaint that these composers way back when got, because everything was Gregorian chant. Harmony was considered that of the devil, and these guys are putting harmonies in there. Oh my god.
I wanted to say hi to Angie, who's joined us. Thank you so much, Angie. And sorry to hear that your uncle passed just recently. All of our best to you and your family. So that I know that's tough, but so glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate the support.
That middle finger was for JL, Angie, not you.
Why? Yeah. I was trying to say hi to her.
I know, but then you just like, and then I was giving you, and then you were like, giving your condolences, and I was like, oh shit, fucking.
Oh great, now he did. He would just say something nice. God damn it! Now I feel like a dick. Oh, I love this, Aaron Reese. I was a teenage asshole based on a true story. Pretty much.
Yep.
Our lives, our audience is amazing. I love these. Every single one of you is amazing, and is I just love it. I love what you guys come up with. Y'all are so much funnier than we are. But yeah, I dug this one. I really, really enjoyed, and I enjoyed learning about that kind of social commentary that parents were afraid this was something like I was a teenage Frankenstein would inspire people to like do stuff and like go out there and like they did the scene, with when he's like looking into the girl, replicating the Frankenstein scene with the little girl with the flower and everything. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I loved how they
did it. Callback, yeah.
Yes, and really well done. And but thinking about I'm trying to think of parents. These are teenagers here, so their parents were probably born in the 30s, probably post-depression, maybe depression, but
20s, 30s, something like that. Yeah.
So you got like post-depression era parents raising up their kids, the teenagers in the 50s, probably 16, 17, 18 years old, watching them go like, oh, they'll get ideas and go peeping in women's windows and stuff. And I was like, what? It's hard to fathom, but no, I've got my mother. I have to say, my own mother didn't like The Simpsons.
Oh, my mother hated The Simpsons,
and she did not want me or my brother watching The Simpsons because she saw a T-shirt with Bart Simpson on it that had like his dialogue says, "I'm an underachiever and proud of it." And my mother hated that.
Yeah.
She did not want a role model for her kids to be proud of underachieving.
Goddamn Nancy Cartwright.
So yeah, Aaron was right. I wrote it last night. You all are funny, but looks don't count.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Look, I don't care how I get the laugh, as long as I'm getting the laugh. Okay.
As long as you're having fun. How does Zombie go? Oh.
No, Slender Man. So yeah,
we've been talking about all these Universal horror films, and all
right?
These different types of monsters, and that's what I want to ask the audience: who is your favorite Universal monster? Let us know. weekinhorror@gmail.com, side chat, or the comment section down below. Hit us up. Let us know. Who is it? I don't know.
What's y'all's favorites?
I don't know. Maybe The Mummy, because I don't know. It's tough. That's a tough one. Frankenstein was always the cool one.
Karloff was badass in The Mummy.
Karloff was badass in everything he did.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I don't know. It's either The Mummy or Frankenstein because of the commentary that's happening in Frankenstein. I love that. It's so good. That scene with the little girl and the flower in the original film was just amazing.
I gotta go. Wolfman, Lon Chaney Jr.
Yeah.
Fucking
yeah, nice.
That was just just that the scene in the woods and like that is just like such fantastic filmmaking. Just suspense, tension, classic stuff. The black and white made it all the better. I do Wolfman. Yeah,
I gotta go Invisible Man.
Ooh, get some Cloud Rains. Dude, that opening scene.
I mean, just all the amount of effects that went behind. I mean, the true just unwrapping and the different stages that they went through with the mixture of makeup effects and practical effects to pull that off. It's just amazing.
He's all eaten away.
Yeah.
Oh, great stuff. We got a lot of love for Dracula in the side chat. A lot of Dracula love. Oh, and there's Travis Brown. What's up, Invisible Man Love? Definitely Connie Johnson with Dracula.
President Starscream says, my mom wouldn't let me watch The Simpsons either as a kid. And hi, all. Hello, President Starscream.
Hello, President Starscream.
Hi.
Good to see you. Excellent. Thank you so much. And I think, Connie Johnson? Yeah, Connie Johnson. Cindy Johnson. Yeah, Connie and Cindy Johnson up in the house. Cindy Johnson says, I am the mom that said no to these types of shows.
Thanks, Ma.
Thanks, Ma.
But
Ma, all my friends are watching it.
If I go to school and I don't know what Bart Simpson did on last night's episode, you're going to call me a dweeb.
We were kids bitching that we wouldn't have the up on the water cooler conversation in school.
I missed a new Power Rangers episode. They're going to talk about it without me.
Oh, you know when Beavis and Butthead came out? That was like,
oh yeah.
I'm not doing MTV and cable television for that trash.
That was the turning point. I think that right there, that was the turning point in our society when things started going downhill, was when MTV stopped playing music. Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Well,
they just kept playing music.
Beavis and Butthead was okay because they played music in Beavis and Butthead. That was part of the show, but it was the real world. That's what fucking killed it. When MTV put out the real world and started reality television.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh wow, we got some other love here. Let's see. Chris Durham News Channel. Favorite monster? Rudy Giuliani. It's hilarious.
Lagoon, right?
And I say, Aaron Reese, Creature from the Black Lagoon. He was the actual protagonist of that movie, just chilling in a lagoon, and people came and stirred his shit up.
Yeah, fucking guy wouldn't. He didn't go hunting little kids. He kept to his own. Like, fucking, I'm having whatever. I need to come over here and you fucking steal my steak. What the fuck, man? Hey. Somehow he's a Guido from New York. Whatever.
Wrote it no last name. Favorite Universal monster, Tom Cruise.
He was a monster.
Yeah.
And we got some not Universal, but World's First Zombie. They're coming to get you, Barbara. All sorts of good stuff, good fun stuff in there. All right, well, I guess it's time for the last one, huh?
Is it?
I think so.
All right, JL.
It's a good one.
This was an excellent one, absolutely.
Spanish.
All right, so yes, a Spanish film. Excellent Spanish film. So released November 23rd, 2007. We have the Spanish horror or Spanish zombie film, zombies again, Wreck, meaning record, but Wreck. But it's Wreck. I guess say Wreck. But anyway, so yes, Wreck. And come on, Cindy Johnson. Ren and Stimpy was amazing. It's long, it's big, it's heavy. Come on, that song is amazing.
Hi, Elizabeth. Good to see you. Good to see you, Elizabeth. Anyway, go ahead, Wreck.
Oh, and Elizabeth Sylvester. Thank you so much. Yes, good to see you.
Yes.
All right, so the Spanish zombie film Wreck follows a reporter and her cameraman as they accompany a group of firefighters on an emergency call to an apartment building. The situation quickly escalates after an infection begins spreading inside, and then the government comes in and seals off the building, and the survivors must, try to get out, before things, before shit gets real. But shit does get real very, very quickly.
Oh, yeah, very quickly.
I dug this one. Essentially, it is kind of found footage, because everything is shot from the cameraman. The cameraman is following the reporter, so she's the focus. And then, of course, going through this kind of situation, this isolated, this sealed off building that she's having to contend with. And I loved this movie. Was amazing. The remake, the American remake of it, not so much. But I really, really enjoyed this one. Just, I guess it was kind of like the unique spin. Oh, and I didn't even say, I'm sorry, but I didn't even break down the film itself. Directed by Juanpe Palagero and Paco Plaza, and written by Paco Plaza, and starring Manuel Velasco, Ferran Terraza, Jorge Yaman Serrano, Pablo Rosso, David Vert, Vicente Gil, Martha Carbonell, and Carlos Vicente. So sorry, I didn't break that down. But
I thought for sure you were going to give this one to Eugene just because of that right there.
Oh, I wouldn't do that to him. I took the names and the bad film this week. I took the hit.
So that means next week's going to be really bad.
Oh yeah, next week's is going to be like some. It's going to be some fucking like Indian shit.
It's going to be some Russian surreal.
No.
It's all a bunch of it's all just a bunch of consonants, no vowels.
Fucking, I'm just going to put the whole script in Cyrillic. but I love this. I love this one. It was an interesting spin. This was kind of a new spin on the zombie deal because it wasn't totally zombies.
Yeah, it wasn't totally zombies. The idea that they had there was cool. I thought it was a cheap way of doing a cheap get around of doing found footage film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because by the fact that you already have a news reporter established, and then she meets them at the fire station, and they're looking for a call. They finally go and you get a call, which I want to point out has a really impressive 5-minute take where they leave the fire station and go all the way up the stairs. So they leave the fire station, they're on the fire truck, get into the apartment complex, and go up the stairs. It's one unbroken shot, by the way. That's really impressive. But the fact that it's contained and it's a news reporter, and then once they start basically getting quarantined off, they're like, well, we want to hide this as evidence. I think it's a great workaround to explain found footage versus just, I have my cell phone and I don't want to put it down.
Right.
Right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is one of the ways. Because found footage is very difficult to do, and the biggest thing I don't like about found footage is that it seems like it's a cheap way to get a found footage movie done, or a film done. Where we are experiencing this type of thing, right? So their way of getting around it, talking about, well, this is a news report. It's like, okay, that makes sense. Makes sense for them to be there like this.
It really does. And then it works because then it's just kind of happening all around you. It really kind of puts you in because it feels claustrophobic. You know, you're not having a big apartment lobby that they're all hanging out in. There you go in the building, you have the stairs, it feels cramped, it feels claustrophobic, and then you have like the one firefighter who hits the ground and it just comes out of nowhere, just boom, it just surprises you. It keeps that tension up the entire time, and it really makes you feel claustrophobic.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it in that respect. There was a film that reminded me of this, and that was it was part of the 8 Films to Die For series After Dark, called Mulberry Street, where that was also kind of a zombie thing, but it was like mutated rat people because of a virus being spread by rats, but they turned into man-eating rat people. But nonetheless, the center of the focus of that was an apartment building, very similar to this one. So it had that same quality to it, which I really, really dug. It lent itself to it because I think because there wasn't a lot of like the jerky thing, when you're in the apartment complex, they're structured. Everything, you have your hallway, you have your ups, downs, your horizontals. Everything is pretty much focused, and you can where you're looking as it. When you're out in the open, like Blair Witch, it can come from everywhere because there's no walls, there's no structure. It's literally just open ground. So then the camera is all over the place, and you get that kind of jerky sensation that a lot of people didn't like. That can kind of give you motion sickness when you're watching it on the big screen. Didn't get this in this one. Not to mention, like you said, person with a cell phone is different than a professional cameraman who is trained to maintain this camera and do it correctly because he's shooting for the news. I love what they did with this, and I love the twist at the end with I don't want to mess up the name. I have to make sure that I double check it again. With Tristana Medeiros, that part of the plot I thought was really, really cool because it kind of takes a twist. Or it doesn't really twist. I would say it opens up the door to something much larger, to a much larger universe, because we realize because once you get to the point, and it doesn't even come till the third act, and then you touch on a little bit, but then the big climax happens, and the mutated or whatever Tristana comes out, which was, I have to admit, I typically don't like night vision. I don't like night vision shots. But it worked here. And it was fucking freaky.
Yeah, this is, like I said, when it comes to found footage, and we have slammed on found footage, none of us are huge fans of the genres, except for a handful of exceptions. And this is the right one. This is the right one because it puts you in when it switches to that night vision. It just makes sense.
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing is that it makes sense and it allows you to buy into it. You're not getting Cloverfield where they're in the helicopter and a creature, whatever, grabs the helicopter. And you're like, oh, you should have been dead. And somehow they survive. And the camera still works because it has to.
Right. And I dug it. Yeah, they get attacked, and then the light gets damaged because right at the point they're using the camera, but they're having to use the light on the camera, the physical light on the camera. But then they get attacked, and in the melee, because people are getting knocked around and everything, or they fall off the ladders, get scared by shit. The light gets damaged, and he himself says, "Crap, the light's damaged. I have to switch to I can only switch to night vision." Because even he realizes this sucks because your peripherals blow. You only have a very kind of like tunnel look as to what you can actually see. He knows how it's going to be bad, but it's the only way they're going to be able to see anything. On the converse, from us, the audience perspective, that means we only get like flashes of what's going on. Yeah. And the stuff that was going on with character actor Javier Botet, showing up there at the end with like that, I was like, oh, holy shit! And it's such a twist when you just discover all the religious iconography and the stuff going on in the upstairs penthouse. And so what's going on. I love that spin because typically it's like, oh, there's an infection in the building. The government knows. Okay, so we got government involvement. But then they spun it. It was like, oh no, this goes beyond that. Like the government is even rushing to catch up, to try and contain this shit. But the church knew about it way in advance, which I really dug. It was a really fun spin on the zombie the kind of zombie story. It could have fallen flat. But I love what they did with it. Everything was justified. Acting was fantastic. That the lead girl in this was magnificent. Manuela Velasco. She was brilliant. I thought and she's a scream queen, to be sure.
Oh, I watched the thing on. We talked about the casting of it because she's a real life news reporter.
Oh, badass!
And so when they were actually casting everything, that's why he wanted to go reporter out. So she does acting, but she's not like a full blown actress on it. And then with the rest of the people in terms of casting wise, he only gave them partial scripts. So they didn't know certain things that were going to happen on it. So like when they go to I think it's like the store like next door and they open the curtains and you see like the black plastic drop down on stuff. Both the directors didn't tell them that was going to happen. They're like, okay, you're just going to go look out the window. So when the window opens up and they see all those people and the curtains are coming down, they weren't expecting that. So that reaction is genuine like surprise.
Nice
on it. And I think that's the way to go. They used a lot of the firefighters are real firefighters.
Very cool. I dig that. I dig that, the commitment to it. Because, the firefighters are going to react like firefighters because that's their training. I didn't know that she was actually a news reporter first because that's why she's so comfortable in front of the camera and handling a mic. And that makes sense. Looking at the remake, because the film Wreck was remade here in America as Quarantine, and it got a sequel, Quarantine 2. Neither one of them I thought were great. Were good. Maybe that was the missing link because those movies did not do well, which is why in Spain we got 4 Wreck films. And I think there might be a 5th one. I'm not sure, but coming up, I'm not sure. But, we got 2 here in the States, and they were just meh, whatever. And the second one was just like it really missed the bar completely. But for the first one was almost shot for shot. Almost. Yeah. There were a couple of differences, but it really didn't. It was just like, okay, maybe we did. I thought it was because we did it before, but maybe it's because it's all actors portraying these things and not actual professionals.
And because I think with Wreck, using real people, it just makes it that much more real because in a found footage film, it has to feel real. And Wreck really dives into it, whereas Quarantine feels like a movie set.
Right.
Like
yeah.
It does. It makes it that much harder to buy into the found footage.
Right.
Yep. Cut the last bit of that. But talking about how much Quarantine sucked.
Oh yeah. And yeah. I think Eugene may have hit on it because in Wreck, the firefighters were real firefighters, with trained as firefighters, and then like Manuela Velasco who plays Angela in it, she's Manuela is actually a news reporter first, and an actress second.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so natural for her to be in front of the cameraman with the microphone, knows how to handle it, has done things like this before. She has natural training for that. And so we don't have to realize that we just need professionals in their element being faced with this extraordinary situation. And Eugene was telling me that they only got partial scripts. Like they didn't realize when certain things were going to happen Like, you know, when they open up the window, they're looking outside, and all of a sudden the sheets drop down as the government is quarantining off the building. They didn't know that was going to happen.
More natural reaction.
It's natural reaction. That may have been what separated Rec from Quarantine, why Quarantine didn't do well, because like Eugene said, the whole thing felt staged.
Yeah, and well, look, by the time that we got Quarantine, found footage was kind of already faded. People were getting tired of it. And just, you know, you really had to make the reason for the found footage work, and Quarantine didn't do that, right? So Rec, the reason why it works so well, again, because the setup for it just makes sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. Of course, if you got somebody who's, you know, news reporter, building's on fire, fuck yes, I'm going to be involved in that. I'm going to document, and then, you know, getting real, going to document all that stuff the way it was done, because like, you know, as Eugene brought up, the different aspects of the, you know, the not full script, getting the natural reactions, having the firefighters first, then, you know, then actors, and then the newswoman first, then she's an actress. That really builds into a believable. It makes it easier for the audience to believe what's going on
right
on screen. Whereas Quarantine, yeah, it seems like it was a hell of a lot more. It was just a staged, you know, like they went in and spent all kinds of time with the perfect lighting, and Rec looked like it was just there's a nightlight over there, fucking work with it, you know.
Peter C says, yeah, Rec was made to feel like it could really happen,
right?
Which is really, really good. I thought it was just brilliant. Made it probably the big separation between the two. Aaron Reese, like Weekend Horror, says Blair Witch did that in the first movie. They kept the actors were kept on short sleep and were only partially aware of what was going to happen at any given moment. And I remember that they would drop them like little packages that had notes, but they never actually saw the directors and the producers. They would like leave them information like, you're going to be encountering something like this, you know, deal with it. And everything else was improv. And, you know, interesting. You know, and then dug that. Let me see. I thought I saw somebody. Oh, somebody was making mention of something else. Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, Nerd Journal says, you know, Grave Encounters 2 did kind of handled it as well. And I did like what Grave Encounters, what the Vicious Brothers did with that as far as found footage goes. The way they handled that, because that was an investigative team that was essentially everybody on the team was professionals, knew how to handle the cameras. And so you didn't get the Blair Witch shakiness, you know, where we're out there, you know, where we're kind of out of our element. So it helps for it. But yeah, that was the big thing. Mm-hmm. There was the split. I mean, there's difference there. I think better choices were made with Rec, and Quarantine just tried to capitalize on Rec's success instead of trying to do what made Rec successful. Just do it yourself. Maybe it was a money thing. I'm not sure. But yeah, I agree. It just felt staged.
Yeah, every problem can be solved by throwing money at it.
Right.
No. So that's why like some of these great films, having that low budget, because they have to get creative with it. And instead of just, you can throw enough money at any problem and solve it. But you don't have that 15, 20, I don't know how much Quarantine costs, $15, $20 million budget, whatever. When you don't have that, you have to get creative. And when you look at some of the shot choices, like when I was talking about Rec, you have that unbroken shot as they go into the apartment building. That one has a purpose because it's building tension. They've been finally waiting for this call. They're in the fire truck. It's building up. They're getting excited. This is our first call. Whereas with Quarantine did a couple of long one-takers, as it was just action just inside the building.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just like, we did it because we're on a soundstage and we can. That's just how it felt.
Agreed. So, since we've been talking about Rec for quite a bit and all the things that make it fantastic and why it's so much better than its American remake, I'm curious. There are 4 movies in this franchise, all of them in wildly different scenarios. Like, you know, the first one was in the apartment building. The second one, I believe, was that the one at the wedding, or was the third one at the wedding? I think the third one might have been at the wedding. I'm not sure. And then the fourth one was on a boat, was on a yacht. So they do all kinds of cool stuff with the Rec series. I really, really love this one. I hope we get a 5th one out of it. But yeah, I'm curious, of this franchise of the 4 films, Rec 1, 2, 3, or 4, what's your favorite version? Or what's your favorite installment in this franchise? Let us know in the live chat or in the comments below, or weekinhorror@gmail.com. Which one's your favorite entry? The first one, second one, third one, fourth one? Zombies on a boat? Want to hear what you guys think?
I'm tired of these motherfucking zombies on this motherfucking boat.
All right. Well, it is about that time, the time that everybody's waiting for. The only reason they hang out with us.
You still haven't made a thing for it, have you?
Made a what thing for it?
Like a musical intro.
Like a jingle or something.
Oh, I haven't. I don't even know where to start with that.
Premiere Pro.
I wouldn't know what to put. You know, something that I would like hit in here, like an audio cue.
Well, I mean, that could be like a little.
Oh, like something that happens. Yeah, I you go for it, Johnny.
If I can put my, more. Look. You want jingles? I'll give you jingles.
You want a GIF? I mean, you can make a GIF. I can put a GIF here and play the GIF, and it'll pop up on the screen like, wow, like that, and it'll go away. We could do that.
Well, we'll figure something out.
Right.
Yeah.
But yes, it is trivia time. Something up. There you go. There's your audio cue.
We'll just record that. Put some effects on it.
But yes, it is trivia time. So, and we are giving away a Shit Gets Real limited edition number 4 shirt straight from the store. Limited edition number 4 shirt to the winner of this trivia question. So yes, take it away, Eugene.
So the question is, get your Google fingers ready.
Stretch them out.
Ready. Spanish actor Javier Botet possesses what genetic disorder that he has used to bring many truly terrifying horror characters to life? So again, Spanish actor Javier Botet, B-O-T-E-T, possesses what genetic disorder that he has used to bring many truly terrifying horror characters to life?
Chris Durham says, answer, Eartha Kitt in her least known role, Cat Lady, 57 cats and 1 can of tuna.
Aaron Reese,
shit. Quick.
Okay, because that was so fat. Wow, that came in really fast. Nerd Journal, come on, dude.
I don't know.
IBS.
It's kind of frightening.
Aaron Race, looks like it was Aaron Race, but Charlie Welch says, give it to Aaron. I win a lot. Yes, Charlie Welch does actually win a lot.
Yeah, that's why you never make a bet against him.
Exactly. I think Charlie Welch has like every item from our shop. I think he's won every item from our shop at least once, I think. But yeah, Aaron Reese, congratulations. Yes, and the answer is Marfan syndrome. Yes, he does have Marfan syndrome, and that allowed in the which results in hyperelasticity and elongated limbs and fingers, which allows him to portray a number of truly terrifying characters. He is, I believe, he's 6'7".
He could be Pumpkinhead.
He could be Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, he is 6'7", and he weighs like 123 pounds.
Fucking asshole.
So it's just, and if you remember correctly, I think one of the creepiest ones was in the Guillermo del Toro movie Mama. He played the monster Mama, that with the long limbs, freaky stuff. But yeah, he has turned that into a real benefit and portrayed many a monster and freaky stuff. So congratulations to Aaron Reese. Let me make sure I get that down. Aaron Aronson. Congratulations. We will get that shirt shipped out to you ASAP. Way to go. All right. What are these other ones? Aaron Reese says, don't you treat me like a charity case, you bastard.
Hey, I didn't say that shirt came with a free can of soup.
Charlie Welch says 3 shirts, a mug, and a box set is what he's won so far. Yeah, we have Travis Brown going STDs. What the hell? Sarcasm says, I have all the t-shirts, season 1 mug, the nail gun poster, and the Feast 1 sheet. Sarcasm has won a bunch. He is one of the guys to beat.
It used to be PhD Tony, but he stopped showing up because of his old man syndrome.
Yeah. And Travis Brown, yes, Javier Botet also did portray Slender Man once. He did. He's up there. Was kind of like with Doug Jones. He's just like more because Doug Jones isn't as tall, doesn't have and it is I believe what Doug Jones has isn't as advanced or as I guess presented as much as Javier's, but Doug Jones, same thing, which is why he can portray the characters he portrays. many monsters. He was the gentleman. He was one of the gentlemen in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he was also Abe Sapien, Hellboy series. Doug Jones, amazing. Ice Cream Guy in Legion.
Oh yeah. Fucking Legion.
So, all kinds of cool stuff. So yes, congratulations to Aaron Reese for winning the trivia question for today. We will get that shirt out to you ASAP. Thank you so much.
Let's see. Travis Brown. We have talked about Contracted.
We did. That's why you said STDs. That's why he's saying. I said STDs.
Oh, okay.
Talking about Contracted.
Yes.
I'm with you. We're there. We're
okay. Yeah. I'm picking up what you're putting down now. Yeah.
Yep. Picking up what you're putting down. Well, I guess it's that time. That brings us to another close. Wait, what am I doing here?
I have no idea where. I was wondering where you're going to go with that grammar. To read makes my speaking English good.
I have been watching too much Yoda stuff.
Hooked on phonics work for me.
I didn't. Shit. And that brings another episode of the Week in Horror to a close. Thank you all so much for listening. We loved having you, and we truly hope you enjoyed it. Join us next week when we take a look back at British horror transmutations. 80s techno zombies and the video Dead, the adaptation of Dean Koontz' Watchers, and the zany horror comedy Office Killer. That's what happens when jail eats a burrito. We'd like to send a special shout out to our amazing patrons who have helped us make the show. Thank you all so much. That we do truly appreciate it. Also, be sure to check out Josh Olsen's new store, www.badsamurai.store. Josh does all the amazing artwork for our limited edition t-shirts, and he has some amazing new designs that you will all be sure to love. Pick up a shirt. Go help him out. He's a really awesome dude. Visit us at weekinhorror.net, where you can find links to all of our episodes, our bios, if you're really that curious, our merch store, and Teespring. Our merch store at Teespring. And, of course, enter your email for a permanent entry to win a mystery horror shirt every month, courtesy of $6shirts.com. For more horror entertainment, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Followers get our daily splatter, a bit of horror movie info right into your feed. So much fun. You'll learn all the little tidbits you never thought you really needed to know, but you do. You need to know these things. Please like, subscribe, and smash that bell like Ripley popping the airlock on a Queen alien for all the latest updates from the show. And be sure to leave us a comment. The interactions really help us with that dreaded algorithm. And lastly, if you truly love what we do here and you would like to and are able to support our production, you can do so through our Patreon. We have subscriber tiers as low as $1. That's $1 a month, less than that Starbucks cup of coffee. You get bonus and exclusive content and horror films for every month for our highest tiers. However, if you prefer, you can support the show through a PayPal donation as well. Links to everything, including our Discord community, where you can find film recommendations, trailers, trivia games, horror watch parties, and even interact directly with us, are in the description box. And as always, sharing the show with your friends in your local horror community is the absolute best way to help this show continue to grow. Thank you all for being the greatest audience a podcast could have. I'm Johnny O.
I'm JL.
And I'm Eugene.
And we'll see you next week. And as always, stay scared.